Welcome, everyone. Today, we're not just going to talk about happiness. We're going to step inside the life of a man who had everything, yet felt nothing. His name is Jack. He's not a celebrity. He's not famous. He doesn't have 1 million followers or a Lamborghini. But his story is more powerful than most success stories you've ever heard, because Jack had the one thing most people are afraid to admit: an invisible sadness. The kind no one sees. The kind that makes no noise. The kind that quietly kills your joy. This is not just his story. This might be yours too. So listen closely, because somewhere in these words, you may find the secret to your own happiness. And if you want to understand stories like this, not just emotionally, but also in real, powerful English, you're in the right place. Here, we grow your mind and your English together. So subscribe, and let this be the story that changes your life and your language. My name is Jack. I still remember that night. It was a Thursday evening in winter, cold, the kind of night when people sit with family and eat warm food. But I was alone. I had just finished dinner. A dry microwave meal I didn't even enjoy. I turned off the TV. The room went silent. And suddenly, I felt something strange. Not pain. Not sadness. Just empty. I sat there staring at the walls of my apartment. Everything looked fine on the outside. I had a good job. Money in my account. A phone full of contacts. New shoes delivered that morning. But inside me, something was missing. And for the first time in years, I actually noticed it. If my life looks fine, why don't I feel fine? That single question changed everything. I had spent years doing what I was supposed to do. Graduate. Get a job. Earn money. Be responsible. Post a birthday selfie. Say, I'm good. I played the role perfectly. But that night, in the silence, I felt like a stranger inside my own body. I looked around my apartment. Everything was where it should be. Laptop on the table, coffee mug beside the bed, phone charging, curtains half closed, but none of it felt like mine. I was living, but I wasn't alive. It hit me hard. I hadn't laughed genuinely in months. I hadn't woken up excited in years. I hadn't felt free since I was a teenager. Every day was the same cycle. Wake up, check phone, work, eat, scroll, sleep. I had stopped dreaming. I had stopped feeling. I had stopped asking myself, Jack, are you okay? Because the truth was, I wasn't. The worst part? I felt guilty for even thinking this. My inner voice said, Jack, people are suffering out there. You have a roof, a job, health. Be grateful. You're lucky. Stop complaining. But I wasn't complaining. I was confused. Because I had everything society told me to chase, and still I felt nothing. That confusion, that quiet question in my head, broke me open. It wasn't depression. It was disconnection. I wasn't falling apart. I was disconnected from life like a phone that shows full battery but has no signal. That's what I had become. A man with a working body and a lost soul. That night, for the first time in years, I did something rare. I didn't open my phone. I didn't escape into a screen. I just sat there and let the silence speak. And it did. It told me the truth I had been hiding from. Jack, you are not living. You are just surviving. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't post a quote on Instagram. I just made one promise to myself. I need to find out what happiness actually means. Not what people say. Not what movies show. But what it really means for me. That was the night my journey started. A quiet, personal, lonely, powerful journey. Not toward more success, but toward something far more rare. Peace, clarity, real happiness. For a long time, I believed something without ever questioning it. I believed happiness comes later. Later when life becomes easier. Later when problems disappear. Later when I become successful enough. From childhood, life teaches us a rule. First struggle, then succeed, then be happy. So happiness becomes a reward, not a state. People don't say it directly, but they live like this. Finish your studies first, then enjoy. Work hard now, happiness will come later. Sacrifice your present for a better future. And so we learn to postpone happiness. We learn to say, not now, later. and later becomes a habit. I never woke up thinking, I don't want to be happy today. I woke up thinking, once I fix this part of my life, I'll finally relax. So I kept fixing things. When I was a student, I said, after I graduate, I'll be happy. After I graduated, after I get a job, after the job, after the promotion, after the promotion, after more money, after more money, after everything feels stable. But stability never came, because the moment one problem ended, another appeared. Life didn't pause and say, okay, Jack, now it's your turn to be happy. Life just kept moving. One day, I realized something painful. I was always preparing for life, but I wasn't actually living it. My mind was always in the future, planning, fixing, improving, worrying, calculating. I treated happiness like a destination on a map, but the map kept changing, and the destination kept moving. This lie is dangerous because it teaches you one thing: your present moment is never enough. So even when life is okay, you feel unsatisfied. Even when nothing is wrong, you feel restless. Even when you achieve something, you feel empty again. Not because achievement is useless, but because you never allowed yourself to feel fulfilled. You immediately move the finish line. Let me be clear. This has nothing to do with phones. Nothing to do with technology. Nothing to do with modern life alone. People were unhappy long before phones existed. The real problem is deeper. We measure life like a checklist. Am I successful enough? Am I respected enough? Am I productive enough? Am I ahead of others? And as long as one box is unchecked, we tell ourselves, I don't deserve happiness yet. So happiness becomes conditional. And conditional happiness is fragile, because conditions are never perfect. No one was forcing me. No boss. No parent. No society standing in front of me. The pressure was inside my head. A quiet voice saying, you should be more. You should do better. You should be further ahead. That voice never rested. And slowly I stopped resting too. One evening after work, I asked myself honestly, what exactly am I waiting for? I had food. I had shelter. I had health. I had time. So why was I delaying happiness? That's when I saw the truth clearly. I was using the future as an excuse to avoid the present. I was saying, I'll live later, because living now felt uncertain, uncomfortable, and unplanned. The biggest lie isn't that happiness comes from money or success. The biggest lie is this: you must earn the right to be happy. That belief turns life into a constant exam. You're always proving, always chasing, always fixing yourself, and you never arrive. Happiness is not a reward for perfection. It's not a bonus for achievement. It's not something life gives you when you behave well. Happiness is what happens when you stop postponing yourself. When you stop saying not now, and start saying this moment matters too. Understanding this didn't solve my problems overnight. I still had responsibilities. I still had fears. I still had questions. But something inside me changed. I stopped treating happiness like a future prize. I started seeing it as a way of being. Because as long as you believe, I'll be happy after, you will always be chasing. And chasing never brings peace. That morning changed everything. Not because something big happened, but because for the first time in years, nothing happened. It was early morning. I had woken up too early by mistake. The sky outside was dark blue. My apartment was completely silent. The city hadn't started yet. No alarms. No notifications. No pressure. Just me. And the present moment.no emails. No noise. Just me. The sound of the heater and my breathing. For the first time in forever, I didn't reach for my phone. I didn't check what I missed. I didn't check who liked my post. I didn't rush. I just sat there and looked out the window. And something strange happened. No one texted me. No one praised me. I didn't get promoted. Nothing in my life improved. And yet, I felt something I hadn't felt in a very long time. Peace. Not the kind where you jump and dance. Not excitement. Not motivation. Just a soft, deep stillness in my chest. It felt like my thoughts were finally sitting down instead of running wild. And I whispered to myself, wait, is this what I've been missing all along? That's when I understood something massive. Most of the pain I was carrying wasn't from people. It wasn't from my job. It wasn't from my failures. It was from how I thought about all of it. I was replaying old conversations in my head, imagining things that hadn't happened, judging myself constantly, worrying about what others thought of me. I wasn't tired of life. I was tired of my own thoughts. My mind had become my enemy, and I didn't even notice. Have you ever been lying on your bed, but your brain is running a marathon? That was my life. Even in moments of rest, I couldn't actually rest. My brain kept whispering, you should be more. You're behind. You're nothing compared to him. You're not good enough. Every single day, these thoughts played like background music, and I had gotten used to the noise. That morning, in silence, I heard nothing, and it felt like freedom. Here's what I learned in that one quiet hour. When the mind stops running, happiness doesn't need to be created. It comes back automatically, because deep down you were never broken. You were just buried under layers. Layers of overthinking, layers of fear, layers of guilt, layers of trying to please others, layers of trying to prove yourself. And the only way to remove those layers is to stop running. Every day I was fighting something. Fighting time. I should be further by now. Fighting people. They don't understand me. Fighting reality. This shouldn't be happening. Fighting myself. Why am I like this? No wonder I was exhausted. I was trying to control everything. But that morning, in silence, I stopped fighting. And in that space, I found a peace I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Most people believe, if I can just fix everything out there, I'll be okay in here. But that's backwards. No house, no relationship, no money, no career, no perfect body can fix a chaotic mind. Because even if life is beautiful, you'll still feel miserable if your mind is in pain. That's why some rich people are depressed. That's why some beautiful people feel ugly. That's why some successful people feel like failures. Because the battle isn't outside. It's inside. I stopped asking, what's wrong with my life? And I started asking, what's wrong with the way I see life? That question saved me, because it put the power back in my hands. I realized my freedom begins when my thoughts slow down. What did I do next? Did I quit my job? No. Did I move to the mountains? No. Did I become some spiritual monk? No. I just started one simple habit. Every morning I gave myself 10 minutes of silence. No phone. No scrolling. No pressure. Just silence. At first it felt strange. But after a week my mind stopped screaming all the time. And I realized something simple but life-changing. Happiness is not something you chase. It's something you uncover once the noise goes away. The real problem isn't that we don't have happiness. The real problem is that we've built a life that keeps covering it up. We're too busy, too distracted, too pressured, too disconnected, too overloaded. That morning, I didn't add anything to my life. I just removed the noise, and happiness returned, not as a guest, but as my home. If your mind is tired, your soul will feel heavy, even if life is good. If your thoughts are always running, you'll never feel safe, even when you are. That day, I understood the first true secret of happiness. Happiness is not a goal. It's the silence that remains when the noise finally stops. And once I saw that truth, I couldn't live the same way anymore. After that silent morning, after feeling peace for the first time in years, I began asking a deeper question. If this peace was always there, why did I keep losing it every day? Why did my happiness disappear so quickly? Why did I feel empty again the moment the world turned back on? I found the answer, and it wasn't just painful. It was terrifying. Everyone says they want to be happy, but deep down, most people aren't ready for real happiness. Why? Because real happiness feels foreign in a world addicted to pain. We are taught how to achieve. We are taught how to hustle. We are taught how to survive. But no one teaches us how to be at peace with ourselves. So when peace comes, it feels uncomfortable. We sabotage it. We ruin it. We run back to what we know. Stress, chasing, drama, pressure. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't gamble. But I had other addictions. Addiction to overthinking. Addiction to guilt. Addiction to comparing. Addiction to fixing everything. Addiction to controlling the future. Addiction to anxiety. Because anxiety gave me something to focus on. It made me feel like I was working on my life, when all I was really doing was destroying my peace in advance. I grew up believing, if you're not struggling, you're not doing it right. So when life felt calm, I felt lazy, behind, like I wasn't pushing hard enough. Happiness started to feel like failure. That's how twisted things had become in my mind. Here's the most honest thing I've ever said. When my life got quiet, I didn't feel peace at first. I felt fear, because stillness makes you hear your own voice. And most people are terrified of what they'll hear inside. We keep ourselves busy not because life demands it, but because silence feels like a mirror. And some of us haven't looked in that mirror for years. One day, I realized I had built a world that protected my pain instead of healing it. I stayed in environments that kept me distracted. I kept people around who never asked real questions. I avoided rest because rest meant reflection. I avoided slowing down because slowing down meant facing the truth. I didn't know who I was without stress. I didn't know how to live without worrying. I didn't know how to be happy without earning it. It's not phones. It's not social media. It's not news. It's not even money. Those are just tools. The real reason most people are unhappy is this. They've trained their mind to believe they are only safe when they are uncomfortable. Comfort feels dangerous. Peace feels suspicious. Joy feels like a trap. So even when life is calm, they find something to worry about. I did it every single day without realizing it. Let me give you an example. One day work ended early. I had no responsibilities. The sky was beautiful. I was healthy. And instead of enjoying it, my mind said, you should be doing something productive. This peace won't last. Don't enjoy it too much. Why do you even deserve to feel good right now? And just like that, I took the gift of a perfect moment and ruined it. I took a beautiful day and poisoned it with my thoughts. Here's something wild I later learned from a therapist I spoke to. The human brain is wired to return to what feels familiar, not what feels good. So if stress is familiar, you return to it. If overthinking is familiar, you return to it. If self-doubt is familiar, you return to it. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because no one can heal your mind for you. I wasn't trying to ruin my life. I was trying to be responsible. I was trying to stay ahead. I was trying to prepare for the worst. But the worst had already happened. I had lost my ability to enjoy being alive. And no external success could fix that. Not because success is wrong, but because I never allowed myself to feel good along the way. So I made a decision. Not a big one. A small one. From now on, when peace comes, I will not reject it. I will allow myself to feel it, even if it only lasts a moment. Even if my brain says I don't deserve it. That small decision saved me from drowning in my own mind. Happiness doesn't feel hard because it's impossible. It feels hard because you've been told it must be earned. You've been told it's childish to chase it. You've been told you should be strong, not soft. You've been told peace makes you weak. But peace is the highest form of strength. Because only the strong can stay calm in a loud world. If you truly want happiness, you must rewire how your mind sees peace. Stop rejecting it. Stop overthinking it. Stop judging it. Sit in it. Welcome it. Let it stay. And most importantly, stop building a life that only works in survival mode. Because you deserve more than survival. You deserve to live. There's a moment in every person's life when the truth hits so hard it feels like lightning inside the heart. It's not loud. It doesn't break anything outside. But inside, it burns down everything that was false. That moment came for me on an ordinary Tuesday evening. No tragedy. No dramatic speech. No one left. No one yelled. I was just sitting on my bed, staring at the wall. And I finally saw the truth clearly. No one is responsible for my happiness except me. All my life I had been waiting. I never said it out loud, But deep inside I was hoping, maybe when I fall in love, I'll finally feel whole. Maybe when I get my dream job, I'll finally feel proud. Maybe when life becomes easier, I'll finally feel peaceful. That night, I realized I had made happiness someone else's job. I was waiting for the world to bring me peace, when it was never the world's job. I'll be honest. I wanted someone to look at me and say, "Jack, I see your pain. I understand you. Let me fix it for you." No one can do that. Because even if someone gives you love, attention, and comfort, if you don't feel worthy inside, you'll reject it. If you don't love yourself, you'll question their love. If you don't accept yourself, you'll never believe you deserve peace. That's what happened to me. I kept saying, life is unfair. People don't understand me. It's society. It's pressure. It's stress. But the deeper I went, the clearer it became. It wasn't life. It was me. I wasn't listening to myself. I wasn't caring for my inner world. I wasn't setting boundaries. I wasn't speaking kindly to myself. I was neglecting my soul and blaming the world for the emptiness. No amount of praise, success, or love can heal someone who is disconnected from themselves. I had to stop blaming my past, my parents, my ex, my boss, the economy, God, time, luck, people, the system. I had to stop asking, why won't someone help me? And start asking, Jack, why won't you help yourself? For years, I told myself stories. I'm not ready. I need to suffer more first. I don't deserve peace yet. Maybe next year things will change. I didn't realize I was the one keeping the door closed. I was postponing my own healing. That realization broke me. It felt like grief because I had to mourn the version of myself that kept waiting. But once I let that version go, something opened inside me. That night, I said something that changed everything. I am no longer waiting. I am no longer blaming. I am no longer outsourcing my joy. From now on, I take responsibility for my peace. And I meant it. Not as motivation. Not as a quote. I meant it deep in my bones because I was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of blaming. Tired of giving away the power to feel alive. Taking responsibility doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you stop running from your truth. You stop waiting for others to understand. You stop negotiating your worth. You stop trying to be someone you're not. It's painful at first because you can't play the victim anymore. But it's also powerful because you finally get your freedom back. Most people misunderstand this. Taking responsibility does not mean blaming yourself. It does not mean forcing positivity. It does not mean ignoring your pain. It means this: my happiness is my project. My peace is my home, and no one else can live there but me. It means becoming the guardian of your own mind. Instead of asking, why don't I feel happy? I asked, what am I still blaming the world for that I need to heal in myself? That's where real change begins. Because healing doesn't happen when you change others. It happens when you change your relationship with yourself. The moment I stopped blaming, I felt lighter. I slept better. I panicked less. I stopped overreacting. I smiled more, not to look happy, but because I no longer needed life to behave a certain way. I just needed to take care of my own space, my emotions, my energy. And that responsibility felt like peace, not pressure. If you're still waiting for someone to save you, they're not coming. But don't feel sad about that. Because once you stop waiting, you realize something powerful. The only person capable of saving you has been with you all along. It's you. And you are more powerful than you've ever been told. I searched for happiness my entire life. I thought it would feel like fireworks. Dancing, smiling all day, big moments, big rewards. But I was wrong. After all the struggle, the thinking, the pain, and the silence, I discovered the real secret. And it didn't explode. It whispered. It didn't shout. It didn't announce itself. It didn't arrive with music playing in the background. It showed up quietly like an old friend. When I stopped running. When I stopped pretending. When I stopped trying to be someone I'm not. Happiness didn't appear after I fixed everything. It appeared when I stopped trying to fix myself like I was broken. When I finally said, this is who I am. This is where I am. And that's enough for now. Excitement is a feeling, comes and goes. But alignment is a way of living. It's when your thoughts, actions, and values finally match. When you don't say yes while your heart says no. When you stop chasing what isn't meant for you. When you stop trying to impress people who don't care about your soul. Alignment feels like peace, and peace feels like home. Home is where your life doesn't hurt you every day, because it's not life that hurts you. It's your thoughts about life. Thoughts of not being enough. Thoughts of not being loved. Thoughts of being behind. Thoughts of needing to be like them. But here's the truth. You're not broken. You're just carrying thoughts that no longer belong to you. Let them go. For years, I lived like this. Smiling in public, struggling in private. Achieving more, feeling less. Working hard, sleeping numb. I was alive on the outside but disconnected on the inside. Because I was wearing a mask every single day. And it's impossible to feel happiness when your real self is hiding. The moment I gave my real self permission to come out. Not the perfect version, not the filtered version, not the successful version. Just me. That's when the healing began. This was the biggest change of all. I stopped criticizing myself, comparing myself, punishing myself, rushing myself, pushing myself, judging myself. And I started speaking kindly to myself. Resting without guilt, loving without fear, failing without shame, healing without deadlines. I stopped treating myself like a machine and started treating myself like a human. That's where happiness lives. You can't feel joy in the future. You can only feel it now. But most people don't live in now. They live in yesterday's regret, tomorrow's fear, today's to-do list. But not in this breath, not in this smile. Not in this sunrise. Not in this quiet cup of tea. Happiness lives in this moment. And most of us are never here long enough to feel it. Here are 4 invisible habits that block happiness for almost everyone. Overthinking. Thinking isn't the problem, believing every thought is. Comparison. The fastest way to lose joy is to compare your life to someone who doesn't even know you exist. Living for approval. If your happiness depends on what others think, you'll never own your soul. Chasing more while ignoring now. There is no next thing that will magically fix your emptiness. If you can't find peace where you are, you won't find it where you're going. One night, I whispered something to myself. The most honest thing I've ever said. Jack, your life is not the problem. Your resistance to life is. That truth hit me like a wave. Because I realized I kept waiting for life to give me something. When life had already given me everything I needed to feel peace. I just didn't know how to see it. So what is happiness, really? Not pleasure. Not thrill. Not perfection. Happiness is breathing with ease. Living without pretending. Resting without shame. Waking up without dreading the day. Accepting yourself without needing permission. Happiness is not a destination. It's a practice. A way of seeing. A way of being. It's not something you chase. It's something you allow. If you've listened this far, let me speak to you directly, heart to heart. You were not born to live in pain forever. You were not born to chase and never rest. You were not born to impress. You were not born to carry guilt, shame, and self-hate. You were born to live. And living begins when you stop escaping your life and start feeling it. Even the quiet parts. Even the boring parts. Even the messy parts. Because somewhere in that silence, beneath the noise, beyond the lies you've been told, happiness is waiting, not far away, not in the future, but inside you, right now. This is the end of my story, but maybe it's the beginning of yours. So I'll leave you with one question. If happiness was never outside you, what are you still chasing that's stealing your peace? Because the moment you stop running, you don't lose happiness. You return to it. And maybe today is the day you finally come home.